Hello, welcome to Tantra Thoughts. My name is Gustavo. Namaskar. Today's video is basically a commentary on the law of attraction. But the title is As You Think, So You Become, Part 1. The law of attraction, as many of you know, is this notion that says that whatever you want in life, you can attract through your thoughts. But before we start talking about the law of attraction and the yogi proverb, as you think, so you become, first let's talk about thoughts and about how every action is preceded by a thought. So think back to everything you've ever done in your life. Isn't it true that it all first started with a thought? Before you started your new job, first you thought about what you want to do and where you may want to do it. Likewise, before the airplane was invented, the Wright brothers thought about it and they had visions about it. They had dreams of being able to fly on an aircraft and even visions of flying from one continent to the next. So we live in a thought-based universe, a thought-based reality. And basically, Tantra says that the universe is like one giant thought. Sounds a little bit like modern physics these days. In 2013, Seth Lloyd, an MIT engineer, created a theory that the universe must be one giant quantum computer. So the logical question is, if the universe is one giant thought, or one giant quantum computer, then who is thinking this thought? Or who is writing the code for this computer? Now, for some, this is a troubling question. However, in Tantra, the yogis found an answer to this question thousands of years ago. And the yogis identified that the one who is thinking this giant thought is, of course, Parama-Purusha, Supreme Consciousness. So let's talk a little bit about what is a thought. Now, a thought, much like a sound, is a vibration. And it also has a wavelength like a sound does. So a very busy or crude thought is going to have a short wavelength. And a expansive or deep thought is going to have a steady or long wavelength. Your mantra is an example of an expansive thought. And naturally, its wavelength is going to look very different than the thought of hurting yourself or somebody else. As you know, the mind is flooded with all types of thoughts. And the total of these mental waves going on in your mind gives your mind itself its own characteristic wavelength. So whether or not your mind has a nice vibration is determined by the major things you're always thinking about. Somebody's going to have a very sort of nice vibration because they're constantly thinking about nice things. Likewise, somebody's going to have a very sort of low vibration if they're always thinking about crude things. So it's important to factor in this idea of thoughts because it starts to create your mind. It starts to build you as a person. Now you can try this as an exercise. For the next day or two, just go about your business and monitor your thoughts. So after every thought, decide, was that thought nice and deep and expansive, or was that thought sort of a crude and busy thought? Did that thought come from the Mahat part of my mind or from the Chitta of my mind? And if you don't know what the Mahat or Chitta is, watch this video and you'll be able to see what that is. Now, in our everyday lives, we don't often get the opportunity to think deep and expansive thoughts. Some of the few ways that you might be able to do this is obviously through doing your meditation every day, twice a day. If you're meditating every day for about 15 to 20 minutes, and you're repeating your mantra, which is the deepest thought that you can have, or the most expansive thought that you can have, especially if that mantra has been prescribed to you by a teacher, and it means something like, I am consciousness, or all is consciousness, then that is the opportunity you have during the day to immerse your mind in these deep, expansive thoughts, which is your mantra. But you could also do that by reading some spiritual literature, by watching some inspirational programs. So what I'm trying to say is that your mind becomes what it thinks about, and thus creates things in your life based on what you're thinking. This is sort of the building blocks of understanding the law of attraction. But we're going to go deeper in the next video and be a little more critical. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought for part 1 of this video. I'm kind of suggesting here, though I don't want you to obsess about this, that you try to have more expansive and positive thoughts throughout your day, or do more meditation so that your mind becomes more and more subtle. Because as you think, so you become, and you will become whatever you mainly think about. Just like your body is what you eat, your mind is what you think. There are many gurus out there that say, replace every negative thought with a positive thought. But if you're a yogi and you're a tantric meditator, then I'm going to take you a step further. And I'm going to suggest that you replace any negative thoughts that you have with your mantra. Because after all, that's the deepest and most expansive thought that you have in your arsenal of tools to become enlightened. Say it before going to sleep, say it before you start driving your car, or while working out at the gym. There's also a special mantra called Guru Mantra, designed for this purpose, to be repeated before every action. And if you'd like to learn on how to acquire a Guru Mantra, which is a mantra that you would repeat before every action, just send me a message. Okay, so I'll see you in part 2 of this video series. Namaskar. Baba Namo